Have you ever joined a Roblox game and you start seeing models like car models, sword models, and any type of models, and you're like, I want to learn how to make those. Those look really cool. So you open up Blender for the first time and you see all these buttons, all these things you could do with your models, and your brain starts overstimulating and you decide to quit. Well, in today's video, I'll go over a beginner's tutorial guide on how Blender works, and by the end of today's video, you'll learn how to use Blender, how to create your first 3D models. I'll also teach how commissions work so you can start making money off those models. And first of all, hi, I'm Jazz. I'm a Roblox game developer who specializes in 3D modeling using Blender. And welcome to my first video on this channel. It's going to be a new channel specifically for Roblox game development. And yeah, welcome to my first video. I'll be teaching how Blender works again. And without further ado, let's get started with that. Hello and welcome to Blender. This is a free software for anyone to use basically, and you can start making your 3D models here because it's like probably the best software to do that. So when you launch Blender, to download Blender, it's practically free. Just go to blender.com, I believe, or search up Blender download. And if your PC can't handle like the newer Blender, it's fine to go to older Blender because my PC is really bad, so I'm using Blender 3.3 even though I think the newest one is like 3.5. Alright, let's get started with the tutorial. So when you open up Blender, you'll see this like prompt that comes up. It basically shows you your new files and your recent files. We're not going to be worrying about this right now. All you have to do is just like click off of it, and then you'll be shown to this screen with the camera right here, a cube with the origin point, I'll explain that in a second, and the light. And basically, your first thought when you join Blender, like launch up Blender, is probably like, how do I move? Because it's not WASD like how Roblox Studio has it. Instead, it uses the mouse like stroller wheel button tool to move around. This is how you like change your angle using the holding down the scrolling wheel. And to actually like move around, you have to hold shift while you hold the scroller wheel. So like this. That way you can actually move around and like turn your object, see it at every angle. This is pretty useful to, look at different angles on your model. I'll quickly explain what everything is quickly so we get a good grasp of it. This is just the presets up here: layout, modeling, sculpting, UV editing, texture paint, shading, animation, rendering, composition, geometry nodes, and scripting. But for now, we're just going to be using layout. Don't worry about any of these for now. And just like Roblox Studio, there's also things called Explorer. Well, this is basically Explorer right here. They're called the properties though. And this is the, I don't know, I guess you can call these properties. This is just the Explorer. And Blender, even though it might seem scary, I promise it's not that bad. When you launch Blender, this is going to be your basic cube that will be loaded into every Blender file. And this cube is pretty basic. There's not much to it. Let's say you want to delete it. To delete any part in Blender, you have to use the X button, which can show this little pop-up saying delete, and you can delete an object right here. But I'm gonna use Control Z to bring it back because we don't need we need it right now. But we can click the camera and delete that, and also light because we won't be needing that. But we also want to learn how to add models in, like basic shapes, so we can actually like modify them and edit them. So to do that, we have to hold Shift A, and we can go to Mesh. I'll explain everything. I probably go to a deeper dive for everything else here, but all you have to know is just Mesh. There's basically a plane, which is just like a paper. It's basically paper. Our cube, which you can see, a circle, which is just a circle. UV sphere is like just a sphere. Isosphere is like a more like different sphere, I guess. Cylinder is a cylinder. Cone is like a pyramid, and torus is like this donut. And there's a grid and a monkey. But I'll spawn in a UV cylinder to show you. And as you can see, the UV sphere is inside the cube right now because that's where our origin point is. And not our origin point, sorry, our 3D cursor. As you can see, there's a red and white cursor that hovers over, like, that's like in your Blender file. Basically, this is where parts spawn when you import them in using Shift A. To move our 3D cursor, I'll delete this part for now, but to move our 3D cursor, all you have to do is just click this 3D cursor sign up here, this UI, and then put it somewhere else. And as you can see, it went over here. And what we can do is Shift plus A, let's spawn in the monkey, and boom, it doesn't go into our cube anymore. This is pretty useful to not overlap things, which could be a problem. I'll delete this for now. And oh yeah, I also have to explain how to save your files, just because like I don't think Blender does not have a autosave feature unlike Roblox Studio. So if your Blender crashes or something happens, your model's basically gone forever. I lost so many models because I didn't save my files. So I'll quickly show you how to do that. You have to press Control S, and this pop-up will come up. I might blur this. And you have to save your Blender file. We'll just name it practice for now, and you can save it right here. Perfect. Now we saved our Blender file, and to save it in the future, just press Control S, and it will save again, as you can see down here. And yeah, now I'll explain the basic tools that Blender uses. First, this is pretty. We'll just go over these three. This is like similar to Roblox Studio, if you have a good grasp of that. Move is just to move the part. I'll explain the scaling direction. So Z is up, Z is blue, Z goes up. Green is Y-axis, which goes this way, side to side, and red is basically this way, which is the X-axis. And yeah, it's pretty useful. There's also rotate, where you can rotate the cube that I have, do the X, Y, and Z axis. Let's just make it that way for now. And we can also scale our cube. Let's say I just want to scale it down. We can scale it any way we want. And yeah, pretty similar to Roblox Studio. Not much different. And also I gotta explain something too. So you can see this orange dot in the middle of our part right here. This is basically the origin point. This is where it like basically, how do I explain it? It basically pivots, if that makes sense. It's a bit hard to explain, but this is where it scales. It's just in the center dot, because if the origin point's like over here, it'll scale that way. If it's over here, it'll scale that way. I hope you understand what I'm trying to get of. It's not that difficult, but yeah, so we have our little cube here. I'll also explain how to move your shapes, because using the move tool is not that prominent. So I'll just press G, and you can move your shape any way you want, anywhere you want. And to actually make it like reliable, which way you're moving the shape, you can press Z, X, or Y to move in that direction. You can also use this with rotate and even scale. So if I press Z, it'll go straight up. Y will go that way. X will go that way. So yeah, very, very useful to know. And this is where I'll explain a little bit more. Basically, as I'm hoping everyone knows proper math, basic math here. This is a vertice where you can toggle it. You can move it around pressing G, and you can and there's also edge, which is right here, and a whole face, which is right here. And to select which one you want to modify, there's actually a thing up here for that. This little dot in the cube is vertice. This is an edge, and this is a face. You can toggle these by pressing 2 or 3, but I usually just clicked on them. So if I click edge, I can select the edge, and I can modify it however I want. If I want to press S to scale it, S is a pretty good way to scale things. Or I can press the face, and I can also move it just like this. This is pretty useful to modify and edit your shapes. And I'll also like to explain the materials tab. This might be a little jump of a start, but I believe everyone will understand. Actually, first I'll explain this. So these buttons up here are very, very useful. I'll explain this first. So this button is toggle X-ray. This basically, you can see an x-ray of your whole cube or your model, and you could modify it any way you want. So if I want to click a face over here, I can click that, which is extremely useful. And I'll just toggle that for now. There's also these 4 buttons of a cylinder, of a sphere you can click on. This is basically a wireframe, kind of very similar to X-ray, but it's like a little bit more different. This button is just a regular viewport shading. This is just a regular like view of a model, but this is just basically the model. This other button is just basically the model, but like with colors. And this is just a final render of the image with the 4th button, but I'll keep it at number 2 for now. Oh yeah, I also want to explain, if you want to select every single face at the same time, because we don't want to hold shift and just select everything manually, you can just hold A to select everything. Extremely useful. And here, I'll explain something that's very, very cool in Blender. If you go down here to this red sphere, you can click on this, and there's going to be a huge pop-up that comes here. All you need to know is, I'll explain how to, this is basically for coloring your models. If you press the plus button up here and press new, you can change the color using base color of your model. So if I change it to green, it'll turn green. But as you can see, it won't be green right now. It's because we're on our 2nd preset, not our 3rd. So if we press 3, oh wait, it didn't work. I forgot. Yeah, so basically all I didn't select the shape to actually color it. So when we select the shape and make the color, as you can see, I made it green. We just have to press assign. Now it turns green. That is very cool. Very, very cool for Blender. And I'll just keep that off for now, so it's a little easier by pressing Control Z. And yeah, pretty useful. I also want to explain how to group models in Blender, because sometimes it can be, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to explain. To toggle between your edit mode and object mode, you have to press edit mode to go to edit mode, and object mode to go back to your object mode. Edit mode is basically editing, mostly editing, and object mode is just like toying around with it. To group models in Blender, you just have to get 2 models. I'll get another model, and you have to hold shift to select 2 of them, or you can just press A to get all of them, and go up to your Explorer right here, and then, well, you don't have to go up to your Explorer, you just have to press Control J, and it will select both of these as one. And that way you can modify each face, or like each vertex, or each edge of these models. Very, very useful, and also becomes one whole model, as you probably know from Roblox Studio, which is extremely useful. And yeah, and if you, let's say I hate this cube right here, I don't like it, and I want to take it away. So all I have to do, I'll just select all these faces, and all I have to do is press P selection to separate this. Now as you can see, it's separated. That's amazing, because I don't like this cube attached to this one. I also have to explain something extremely important for Blender. I'm going to select my object cube right here and go to edit mode. This is like probably the most important thing in Blender. It's very, very useful. Basically, it's a loop cut. What is a loop cut? Loop cut. Basically, if you press Control R, you will spawn in a loop cut. Well, it's a yellow highlight around your model. If you just double click twice, then it'll be an orange line. Now, what you might say, what does this do? Well, it basically adds another like vertice and edge to your model, so you can modify it. So I can select this edge right now and modify it like that. Boom. And if I want to have another loop cut, I can press Control R and get another loop cut. And I can, let's say I want to scale this down. This way we can like modify this basically loop cuts adds another like edge or vertex, you could say, to your model, and you can modify it each way you want. Extremely useful. And now that we know all this in Blender, I'm actually going to get started with our practical session of a Rubik's Cube. I'm going to be making a Rubik's Cube as shown on screen, so we can actually like practice a little bit of what we learned. So I'll delete these right now, and I'm going to move my 3D cursor somewhere over here. That's fine. And I will spawn in a cube. Now with this cube, I'm going to go back to regular viewport shading with a second prefix, and I'm going to move this up a little bit. And what we're going to do now is go to edit mode, and I'm going to spawn in a lot of loop cuts so I can like actually make the Rubik's cubes of the cube, if that makes sense. So I'll add, another important step for loop cuts. If you want to add multiple loop cuts and want them to be proportional to the rest of the shape, you can spawn in a loop cut, make sure you get the outline, and then scroll your wheel on your mouse like this, and there will be multiple loop cuts, as you can see. I'm going to have 2 because Rubik's Cubes usually have 2, and I'm going to double click to lock that in. I'm also going to go the other way and get 2. Now it's all proportional. Oops, sorry, I forgot that. There we go. Now we got a regular Rubik's Cube. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to color it. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go to our third prefix, our color one, and turn that on. And we're going to make different Rubik's Cube colors. For example, I'm going to click one face, click a color. I'm gonna add another color, make a new one. I'm gonna make this red. And as we have our face selected right here, I'm gonna press assign. So now it'll make that face only red, if that makes sense. And you can see how I did that. And let's just say I'm gonna make this color, I'm gonna make a new color here. And I'm gonna make it, let's say, I'll make it blue. This will probably be a horrendous Rubik's Cube, I'm sorry for that. I'll press assign, and boom, that color's now blue. And I will make this, oops, sorry. I'm gonna make a new color here. And I'm gonna make it, let's just make it purple. And I'm gonna press assign. Oops, I didn't click one. I'm gonna press assign. And there we go. And I'm gonna make a new color here. You get the drill. Let's make it yellow. And assign. I'm gonna finish the rest of this. I'll quickly go through the video. I'll quickly speed up the video so this won't take too long. Alright, perfect. I finished my Rubik's Cube. I know it looks kind of terrible because I only used like 4 colors. That's okay. And yeah, this is our first model we ever made using Blender. Very, very cool. And I'm also gonna make another practical model because I feel like I taught enough to make another one because this was pretty basic, to be honest. So I'm gonna go back to object mode. I'm gonna select this and delete it. And right now we're gonna be making a simple table with a monkey model on it. And to do that, we're gonna add a cube. And we're gonna scale it down. So this will be the leg of our table. And to duplicate objects in 3D Blender, just Blender in general, to duplicate objects, you have to, instead of Control D like Roblox does, you have to press Shift D. I don't know why it's like that, and to make them like actually go the right way, I'm gonna press Y. I'm gonna select both of these, and I'm gonna press X. Yeah, I don't know why it's Shift D, but it's okay, I guess. And now we have our gigantic legs. Now I'm gonna take this leg, Control Shift. I'm gonna Shift D this. I'm gonna raise it a little higher. I'm gonna turn it, and to know if I actually turned it in full 90 degrees, of course I didn't, but you can go down here. It shows you how much you turned. I'm gonna change it to 90, so it could be accurate. I'm gonna pull this down a little bit. That looks good. Alright, and then I'll scale, oops. I'll just scale this a little bit, that way. And boom, another table. And I'm gonna use our 3D cursor and add a monkey model by pressing Shift A, getting our monkey, and I'll select off our 3D cursor, rotate this. I'll rotate again this way. I'm also going to size it down by pressing S, scaling it down a little bit, and I pull it up like that. And boom, simple table. I'll actually color it so it looks a little bit better. Just give me a second. Alright, I'll hold all of these. I'm going to actually group these, so it's just our table. Pressing Control J, now you can see it's a table up here. I'm actually going to name it table. And that's our Suzanne model. I'll go to edit mode, and I'll hold A to press all, select all, and I'm gonna make a new color. It's gonna be brown. Just get this and turn it brown. Perfect. Now we have our brown table. And now I'll go off edit mode and go to our Suzanne model. Press edit mode, and I'm gonna make a new color. And let's make it yellow. Perfect. Now we got our Suzanne model on a table. I feel like we had to do another practical session because I feel like the Rubik's Cube wasn't enough. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. Oh yeah, if you wanted to save your Rubik's Cube or you want to save your Suzanne model, you can press Control S so it actually saves your file. Perfect, but I'll delete this for now because I won't be really needing it. I'll go to object mode and select both of these and delete. Now I'll explain the most important stuff in Blender, and this is the editing tools. Because if you go to, I'm going to spawn an object. If you go to edit mode, you'll see all these objects. I mean, all these buttons, and you might be very, very confused. So I'm going to go over all of these, well, almost all of them, because some of them you won't be really needing as a beginner modeler. You can learn them if you want through another video, but I'll explain some. So first, this is probably the best best feature you can have for editing. This is extrude region. Basically, doing this, you can extrude a part up like I did, like that. But there's honestly an easier way. Instead of holding that, I could just select the face, extrude it up like this. Extremely useful if I want to, like, let's just say I want to make a tower. I'll make a tower real quick. You can like extrude it, scale it down, extrude it, scale it down, or actually, yeah, extrude it, scale down, and basically, yeah, I just made like a little tower. This is very useful if you want to like add additional like shapes, or like you want to like trace something out in Blender. And yeah, very cool tool. I'll explain this tool, which is inset faces. This is basically what we just did. We just hold something and we inset it so we can modify it each way we want. And I can just like pull it down like that. Yeah, it's basically extruding, but like I guess it's a little different because extrudes also, you can just press E and then S to scale it down like that. Basically the same thing. And there's also bevel, which is right here. I'm just gonna press B for, actually not B, I'm just gonna press this. And what I can do with this, I'm gonna press A to hold, select all, and I'm gonna pull this up so it will bevel our shape. It doesn't look that good because my shape's kind of messy, but I will make a whole new object so this looks, it will actually understand this. So I'm gonna make a cube, and now I will bevel it. Basically, it kind of like makes the sides a little bit more curvier. It basically just bevels the sides. It looks really nice, and you can bevel anything you want. And this is very cool to like enhance your models. And now I'll also explain this. This is just a loop cut. Loop cut. Basically, I explained that earlier. To just make a loop cut anywhere you want. I'll also be introducing the knife tool. Basically, this knife tool is to add like extra vertices or edges to your shape. So I can just, it's basically just cutting through like a knife. So I can just cut through this cut through this, cut through this. And if I, as you can see, there's a pinkish line that shows after using the knife. I can just double press left click to disengage that. And now to actually confirm our cuts here, we can just press enter, and boom, we got like basically like extra edges, extra lines. Pretty useful, yep. I'm gonna delete all these. Polybuild isn't really a unique editing tool to use because it's kind of useless, to be honest. I don't think I ever used it. Basically, you can just like modify, like you'll get like a blue. Your verse will probably get highlighted blue, and you can just modify that and pull it out like this. Basically, just moving the shape. Not really useful, as you can see. And our next one is spin. Basically, this will get the vertices, and you could like add more vertices. If that makes sense, it's kind of hard to explain, but it just makes a spin of your vertices. And there's also, this one's actually really useful. It's called smooth. Basically, it will smooth your vertices. Here, I'll smooth it right here. Actually, I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete this cube. I'm gonna add our Suzanne model back using Shift plus A, and I'll press Tab to go to our edit mode. And basically, what smooth does, it basically smooths out the edges and the vertices. So this is our monkey model right now. If I press A and then smooth it out, as you can see, it'll just smooth out our shape. It looks a little bit better now, except for that, but it's whatever. Yeah, it'll just smooth out our shape a little bit. Honestly, really useful. As you can see, it's making a huge difference right now. And I'll delete this, because we don't need it. I'll make a cube again. Now if we go back to edit mode, there's also edge slide. Basically, this just gets our, how do I explain it? I'm gonna select our edge, and we could like basically slide it like that. Pretty useful. I sometimes use it. I'll delete that for now. And there's also shrink/flatten, which will do that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't really use it that much, but basically just shrinks your shapes. It can be useful in some situations. And we have two more left. There's shear, which basically, yeah, you could just like use all these prefixes right here, and then toggle your thing, toggle your shape any way you want. I don't really use this, to be honest. I feel like it's probably the most useless one. And there's also what is it called? Rip region. Basically, you can rip into your model using this. So if I want to, let's say I open the box and there's a prize inside. Yeah, that's basically what I can do. It can just rip apart your model, which is very useful if you want to check what's inside, basically. And yeah, that is all of our editing tools. I'll explain for now, because it's just a, beginner's tutorial. But I also want to explain camera angles. So let's say if you're tracing like a model in Blender, because people usually just import an image and then trace it out. You want to use camera angles so you can actually see how good it is. Because if you just trace it and like modify it so and so, it will be very inaccurate. So to do that, we can use camera angles. Basically, if I press 1 on my numpad, not my numbers at the top of my keyboard, but my numpad, I can go to our side view of our shape, which is the y-axis. So yeah, it's very useful. And then there's 3, which goes to our other side. 2, which is like kind of underneath. 4 is also underneath. 5 is just, I don't really know how to explain this. And 6 is underneath again. Just stay with me here. Then 7 gives a bird eye view. Pretty useful. I always use it. 8 gives a side of a bird's eye view. And then 9 is just a flipped over version. So yeah, extremely useful to get accurate models of your shape. Now that we learned all of our editing tools in Blender, I want to do one last practical session where we will be making a grenade that we will actually import into Roblox Studio, because I want to teach you guys how to do that. And for this practical session, just follow what I do. So I'm going to move the 3D cursor maybe here. Actually, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to press Shift A to make a new mesh, which is going to be a UV sphere. You can also edit the UV sphere because there's a pop-up right when you spawn in a shape. And I'm going to increase the segments and the rings. Probably a little bit more. I'll move it to 16. I'll move this to, let's say, 25. Now we have that. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. And now I'm going to also like scale it up like this. So it looks a little bit more like a grenade. I'm going to press tab and go to edit mode. And I gotta teach you guys a new thing with extruding, because if we want to, like, you know how there's like spikes on grenades, kind of, and to do that we have to extrude all these faces, but doing that just takes ages because we have to extrude each one individually, which takes insane amounts of time. So what we can do is select all by pressing A and press holding Alt and then E, which comes up with this menu. And with this menu, you could extrude individual faces, which will look like this, which is exactly what we need. I'll move it up like that. And to make it look nicer, I'll go to bevel over here and bevel all these. And boom, it looks really nice right now. I'm gonna press 1 on our numpad and go to this side view. I'm gonna press X-ray up here. As you can see, oh god, there's a lot of things down here. So I'm gonna go down here and delete these because we won't be needing them. And I'll delete the vertices. We'll also go up here and delete the vertices up here. And now we have this open. And I gotta introduce you guys to a new feature that lets you fill in these gaps because we need them to be filled. If we try to hold each one at the same time, it will honestly take ages, and we don't really want to waste the time. So what we could do is press one edge and then hold Alt and select another edge, and it will select the whole ring right here. And what we could do with that is press F to fill it in. Perfect. Now we could do it at the bottom as well. So I can hold one and then hold Alt. Wait, what? So I don't know why it's not working. That's actually really strange. It should be working, but that's okay. I'll just highlight all of them so I don't have to cut the video. Now that we have all of them highlighted, I'll just press F to fill. All right. Now that we have this top over here, we're gonna actually start making the handle. So I'm gonna go to face select and extrude this out. Actually, no, I'm gonna extrude it and push it a little bit, and then I'm gonna extrude it out like this. I'll scale the top a little bit, and then I'll extrude out again and scale it down again. Now that we have that done, I'm gonna actually go back to object mode, and I'm gonna insert a new part as our handle for a grenade. And I don't want to do it in edit mode, because if we insert another part while we're in edit mode, it'll actually group it automatically to what we have already, and we don't need that. So I'm gonna go to object. I'm gonna go to a 3D cursor, and I'm gonna select it right here, and I'm gonna press Shift A to get a cube. I'm gonna scale this down by pressing S. And I will push it up, scale it down a little bit. And I'm going to push it down. Okay, now that we have that, what I'm going to do is go to edit mode. I'm going to select this face. I'm going to go to my wrong side, the other side. Oops, sorry. I'm going to go to this side, and I'm going to extrude it out a little bit, and then press R to rotate it so we can rotate the face. I'm going to extrude down a little bit, and I'm going to press R again to extrude. I'm going to rotate the face, and I'm going to turn it back like that. So now we have the grenade handle, which is perfect. And to make it look a little nicer, I'll size this up a little bit so it looks like that. Wow, we just made our first grenade. That's something to really be proud of, because Blender's a difficult software to learn for beginners, and we just did it. So that's really nice. Now that we have that, I'll actually like name these. So I'm gonna highlight this and go up to our Explorer over here and call it Grenade Base, and I'll just call this Grenade Handle. You don't have to name them, I just did because I just like doing that. Okay, now that's perfect. Now we should color it, so I'm gonna go back to edit mode. I'm gonna select our grenade base, which we already have. I'm gonna select A, make a new color. Sorry, lagged a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna make it, I'll try dark green. Probably like that. And I'm gonna go to viewport shading, and now we have that. And now I'm gonna get out of edit mode, and I'm gonna click on our handle. And honestly, wait, what color? I kind of forgot what color they look like. We can just let it be black. Push it down there, and boom, there we go. We got our grenade. It might not look the best because I don't know. It just doesn't look that good to me, but it still looks decent. And now I'll actually teach you guys how to import this into Roblox Studio, so you guys can actually implement Blender into your Roblox games. So we have to go up to File over here and click Export. Actually, one more thing. I'm gonna Control S to save, and make sure to do that. Otherwise, if your Blender crashes, like I said, it's gone. And now if I go to Export and do FPX, you can honestly do OBJ as well, but I like FPX. And make sure, oh yeah, make sure you guys make sure it goes to the right file you selected to, because sometimes I always lead it to the wrong file. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna select all the shapes, and then I'm gonna limit to selected objects. And also I'm gonna apply transform so we can transform in our Roblox games. And I'm gonna export FBX. I also have to tell you guys that because my Blender is a little old, it's not gonna like show the colors. Well, that's what I think is happening, because it used to let me import the colors as well when I imported Roblox Studio, but it's not letting me now. I don't know why it's happening, but I usually just color in Roblox Studio. It should work for you guys, but if not, I might help you in the comments section below if I know how to do it. But I'm not really sure what the problem is. But I'll show you guys how to import it into Roblox Studio. So let's get started with that. Okay, now that we're in Roblox Studio, what we have to do is go up to View on this View tab over here and click this button called Asset Manager. And what we can do with Asset Manager is click this download button right here, or import button. And we can find our file, for a Blender file that we made. And when you find your file, press open, and there will be a pop-up being the mesh import options, and it's going to be rescale if it's too large, reverse inward pointing mesh normals, and import files single mesh. I don't recommend doing this unless it's actually a single mesh, because it will just basically unionize your whole Blender file. But what we can do is just, actually no, do not press apply all. Actually, it's probably fine. I think it works. And it'll do this bulk import where it will solely bring everything from your Blender file into Roblox. And once we have that, it'll pop up right here. And what we can do is we can hold shift to get both of these and right click it. And I'm going to do insert with location. And boom, I know it doesn't have any color. Like I said, it's something wrong with my Blender, but we have our first ever Blender model inside Roblox Studio. I'm just going to actually color this right now. Oops, where's my properties? I'm actually going to color this right now. So I'm going to make this, let's just say, camo green. And I'm going to make this handle. Let's just make it like black. Sure. And perfect. Now we have our first ever Blender imported 3D model. And that's perfect. Okay, let's say you completely got the drill of 3D modeling and you're ready to make some Robux. And you don't really know how to start because you don't know how to find developers that will hire you. This is where commissions come in place. I recommend doing commissions to make a portfolio and, earn some money. So how you can do so, I'll give you some techniques or some ways you can do it. So if you have Discord, that's probably the number one place I'll go to because there's something called commission service. Like there's 3 that I'm really familiar with and that I made Roblox off from. There's HiddenDevs, RoDevs, and Roblox Developers. I think that's the 3rd name. All of them have developers looking for people to do their work, and they'll give you money if you do their work. This goes for scripting, keep building, music, literally everything about Roblox game development. And that's mostly how I made my money. And there's also another way. There's the Roblox Talent Hub. The Roblox Talent Hub is a little I wouldn't say bad, but it's kind of not safe. I've been scammed there a few times doing work just because I wasn't careful in the past. But mostly with HiddenDevs and RoDevs, it's more like trustworthy people, but like on the Talent Hub, it's more like malicious people, in my opinion, in my experiences as well. But you should be fine. Just be more cautious of that. There should be a video on the screen that shows you how to get there to the Talent Hub. And I'll probably make a more detailed video on the Talent Hub and how to get started and make your own portfolio to showcase other developers, because that's what you really need so people can see your work and hire you. And yeah, that's basically everything for my beginner series on this channel. This is my first ever video on this channel, and I really, really appreciate you guys if you subscribe and like this video, because it took I don't know how long this video is. I think it's like 30 minutes, but it took some time to make. So yeah, there's our grenade over there. And if you want to see like a more detailed version of Blender, I could also make that in the future, or I can also make like scripting tutorials or literally anything about Roblox development. And yeah, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Take care. See you guys.